Hi, in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at 3 use cases for Emacs side windows. And those are going to be the dictionary lookup, tree sitter, and ednc, which is the Emacs desktop notification center. And what side windows are basically the windows that appear on the side. So rather than having a buffer open up below your text here, what it will do is it will open it up in a side window, and you can actually control the side and also the width of the window. So in this example, what we're going to do is take a look at Emacs 28 dictionary server and dictionary lookup function. First of all, what we need to install is dict, D-I-C-T-D, and that's the command line dictionary application that will work with an online dictionary. You can also install the dict server if you want to install an offline version, but in this case I'm just going to be using the online version. So what we've got here is setq dictionary server dict.org. That's the dictionary server we're going to be using, and then we have the bit of code below for opening the side window. So let's have a look at this. What I'm going to do is type in some text and then do a dictionary lookup. So let's be sensible and look up something like knob, which my 8-year-old self would find extremely amusing. So with the cursor here, what we're going to do is run meta x and dictionary lookup definition, and what you'll see is this has opened in a side window here, and it has got focus. So you can see this now has focus. We can scroll through here. We can, select a different dictionary, search definitions, that sort of thing. But this is really useful because by default, what will happen is the window would be split in two, and you would get a sort of short buffer down here, which isn't very easy to read lots of text. So let's search for Emacs. Dictionary lookup definition. Of course, you could bind that to a keyboard shortcut if you want. This just makes it really easy to actually come through Emacs 8 megabytes and constantly swapping. Okay, so this is how you can come through all the dictionaries like that. So that's the first case using the dictionary server. So let's have a look at the next use case, and that's going to be the Emacs desktop notification center, which you can use to replace the built-in GNOME desktop notification center, as I've shown you in a previous video. So what I'm going to do here is actually run notify send title and body, and what you'll see is the notification comes up in the sidebar here. Now if I do another one and switch back here, you'll see that's body 2. You see that's notification 5. So the nice thing about this as well is by default it will split the window into 2, and you'll get a buffer at the bottom. Problem is if you get multiple notifications coming in at once, one after another, your window will get split, so you'll get a notification there, a notification there, a notification there, which is really irritating. You can press Q to quit to close this sidebar, or you can run window toggle side windows like that. But if I press Q, what it's going to do is it's going to close this notification 5, and I'll see notification 4 here. Or as I said, I could just do toggle side window toggle side windows, and that will quit it completely. So that's really useful for my desktop notifications, which will come in via anything that supports them, like Firefox. So if I get a comment on a YouTube video, the notification comes through into Emacs. And what's really nice is that I also use Google Translate from within Emacs, which I've also covered. So if I get a comment in another language, I can actually translate it directly within Emacs in the notification, which is handy. So let's just have a look at that one. So this was the dictionary server, and what you'll see here is we've got the add to list, display buffer a list, and then what you do is you have this bit of code here in between the double quotes to actually match the buffer name. So the dictionary buffers are all called sort of dictionary. Then we've got displays type, display buffer inside window, side right, window width. And what you can do is if you put 0.50, that will take up like at the most 50% of the screen real estate. So you can either do it like that, or you could put in, 60 or 80 or whatever, and that will take up. I think that then calculates it as opposed to a percentage as characters or something. But there's a difference between the two ways of doing it, and this is the way I'm doing it, so that it will at most take up 50% of the screen. So the next one we had was ednc. Okay, let me just go down to ednc. So by default, I was using the pop to buffer current buffer. And what that did was opening up a split sort of buffer here. But the issue with that is get multiple notifications coming in. It will split the window multiple times, which is really irritating. So we've got this bit of code which is from the ednc GitHub page. And finally, what we've got down here is the bit of code for matching the notifications. So you can see the bit of code here to match the notifications is slightly different. What we've got here is the caret. So basically, it's going to match stuff that starts with notification, then asterisk. So all the notifications are called notification 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why we've got the asterisks. Then we've got side right, window width, again 50%. Now I'm going to show you the best one. Save the best for last, and that's tree sitter. So what I'm going to do here is open up a script I did recently. I won't zoom in on this because I'm going to split the window. Basically what this script does is this will pipe in YouTube videos into OBS media sources, which isn't enabled by default. Basically what it does is it creates a named pipe and then pipe stuff into that, and in OBS Studio media source we set pipe source, and it will basically allow you to pipe anything from YouTube or YTDLP into OBS, and optionally set a start and end point in that clip that you want to pump into OBS. So this is a shell script, as you can see here from the shebang, bin.sh. But what you'll notice down here is bash, and that is because I come across to tree sitter. Tree sitter, is it a bit down here? Yeah, here we go. So tree sitter. You need, was it Emacs 29 for this? And I showed you in a previous video how you can actually build Emacs from source, and it literally takes less than half an hour. So this is Emacs 30. And what we've got here is add to list, tree sitter, language source a list, bash, and then the path to the tree sitter bash git repository. And what you'll see in this section down here is add to list major mode, remap a list, shush mode to bash ts mode. And basically the reason why I'm doing this is because there's no tree sitter mode for shell scripts, but there is for bash, and they're simple enough that it's fine to use. So that's how we set up the bash tree sitter. And what we've got down here is the tree sitter explore open inside window. So tree sitter has a function called tree sitter explore, and I'll demo that to you now. And what I've done on this one is I've set the window width to 40. So what I'm going to do here is run tree-sitter explore mode. And what it's going to do is prompt me for a language. So I type in bash. And what you'll see here now is the window's being split and it's saying comment up here. And that is because that's where my cursor is over. So if I come down here, notice this will actually change. So here we're over the function. This is the usage function. So you can see that we have the tree, we've got this mapped out in tree-sitter. So I can do Control-XO and come across here and actually come into these sections, and you'll see that it's actually marking out these things. So look, we got the test command, we've got the string, we've got the pipe here, and we've got the other command. So you can see here, these are all the commands. So I can Control-X back across. So every time I come through the document, we're actually going to get the tree-sitter tree, as it were, showing up in the right pane, which is really nice to actually kind of be able to navigate your code. So we can see here, these are all variables, comment. Oops. So you can see here, this is the same deal. Test command, binary expression. And if I come down to the while statement here, so this is really nice because, as you can see here, we've got a while statement and we've got case, got the case statement. Let me just zoom this down a bit so you can see. So I can select the whole case statement, case items, case item. So it's actually marking out all of our code for us. So that's really nice. So I can just scroll down here. This is going to be dynamically updated according to the cursor position, what code it's over. And this is much more convenient than the default option where what would happen is the window would be split in two. So, oh, God's sake. Sod's law. Okay. Config Emacs init.el. Bin relay. Okay. Tree-sitter explore mode. And see, that's sort of now turned it off. So now I'll turn it back on. Bash. I'm not sure what it may be prompting me for bash because this is actually a shell script and I've remapped it. You might not be prompted if it's, for example, Python and you've got Python installed. Okay, so this is, you know, how we can come through and see everything. And what I wanted to show you was the default. Yeah, so by default, what happens is, can I just scroll? So normally by default with all these packages that I've just been going through and showing you, and the dictionary mode, ednc and tree-sitter is what they will do is they will split the window like this. So by default, you know, you'll be working here, you'll run one of the commands and it will split down here. So it's not terribly convenient to be seeing your code down here and having this tiny little buffer down there. So this is much more convenient because you can actually see both things side by side rather than, you know, in a tiny little split screen buffer down there. It makes it much more difficult to get an overview of everything. So this is really handy for sort of going through your scripts. You can see here, giving a complete outline of the actual function. And so if I just come across, as I press return on any of these, it's going to, so then we got the next variable down there. We got, that's the actual command. So you can actually sort of see, you know, what's what basically. So this is really handy and just makes going through your code quite nice, just being able to see everything sort of laid out, and might help with sort of debugging stuff, but what I want you to notice down here is the name of this buffer is TreeSitter Explorer for Relay, and Relay is the name of this script. So what we can deduce from this is that the buffer name is always going to be tree-sitter explorer or whatever. Okay. And again, you can do a toggle side window, toggle side window. I think there was a keyboard shortcut for that, which I think conflicts with the EL feed keyboard shortcut. I think the keyboard shortcut is Control XW, but I may be mistaken. Let me just more T and switch back to the init.el. So as I said, what we got up here is the bit of text that actually matches the buffer name. So that's all you need to do, is match the buffer name. There is one thing you need to do. Let me just come up dict. Yeah, so this is the one bit of code you need to get the switch to buffer side windows working, and that is set queue switch to buffer obey display actions T. Okay, so this was the dictionary one, where we're matching this buffer string for the dictionary, and then we had the ednc, as you can see, which is matching notification. So notification 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what the asterisk is. It's wildcard to match whatever number of the notification it is. And then finally we had TreeSitter, which is split down here. Okay, so this is the TreeSitter setup. First of all, we set up the TreeSitter, and then finally we've got the add to list, display buffer a list, TreeSitter Explorer asterisk, so that what it's going to do is it's going to match TreeSitter Explorer for whatever file you've actually got open. Display buffer inside window, side right, window width 40. So if I just come across to Firefox here, Emacs side window, there was a mastering Emacs, yeah, demystifying Emacs window manager. So if you have a scroll through here, splitting windows, dedicating windows, side windows. Side windows are full-length windows attached to either the left, top, bottom, or right-hand side of a frame. You can have more than one side window attached to the same side of the frame. And you can have more than one sidebar at a time, so you can have multiple sort of sidebars. And they all have kind of what are called slots. So have a read up on this, and it will actually give you a gist of how this sort of works. Yeah, I think there's more settings down here about how you use this, but it's really handy to be able to have sort of contextual information in a sort of sidebar. So again, little recap. The dictionary one, we did Emacs, look up dictionary definition, and there we go. And you can see here the buffer name is dictionary like this, and then 12, and we can just scroll down. That makes it really handy. As I said, you can also bind that function to a keyboard shortcut, you know, whatever. But I'm just using it from Emacs dictionary lookup definition. You also have dictionary. You just do dictionary. This sort of allows you to kind of search for definition. Yeah, down here, search for word, Emacs, like that. But generally, it's easier to do the lookup definition like that when you're over Word. So that's the dictionary. That's the notification coming up in the sidebar. And again, nice thing about this is they all come up in the same sidebar instead of splitting your window multiple times. And as I said, I can press Q here to dismiss this notification, and it will go to the next one, and then Q again. And I can also view all the logs here like this, the ednc. So that's ednc, and first one, the dictionary, and finally we have the shell script, which we do tree sitter explore mode. Okay, and the weird thing is it's not coming up because I dismissed it. I haven't got a keyboard shortcut to toggle sidebar back, so I'm just toggling it on and off in this demo. Prompt for the language, and once you've got that set up, you're going to have this nice split in here, and you can see this is actually a perfect split for this. So 40% here, so I can see the whole of my shell script here, and I typically write them like this, so it's visually easier to see the sections. But you can see here we've got the comments, then we've got the functions, we've got all the variables, and we can come through. And it said you can jump across to the other window with Control XO and sort of select the whole, the whole block. Let me come up here. So you can see here's the do. Here's the case statement. So, it might also be handy for selecting blocks of code if you want to copy and paste them somewhere else, that sort of thing. But it also helps sort of debugging stuff. You'll be able to see in the tree, something's amiss. So you can just come through down here, select individual bits. So like there's the variable assignment. And so the nice thing about this is it's just automatically updated as you're scrolling through. So you can just enable it, scroll through your code, and you've got the tree sitter tree of that code on the right hand side. I'll come across, close that. So I'll put links to all this under the video, but it's dead easy to get started with. I think you need Emacs 28, is it? But you need Emacs 29 for tree sitter. I think the side windows might have been introduced in Emacs 28, but you definitely need Emacs 29 for tree sitter, I think. And it said to install the dictionary. It's DNF. Well, I'm on Fedora, so whatever package manager you're using. But there are two packages for dict. You've got the dict command line tool, which will work with online dictionaries, and you've got the dict server. So what you can do is dict server. So if you're using the local dictionary server, you change dict.el to localhost. I haven't actually tried installing the dict server. I think one of the differences I noticed was the online version seemed to have a thesaurus, but when I was testing this previously on Ubuntu, the dict server that you'd install didn't have a thesaurus. So there may be some difference between what's available in the offline dict server as opposed to the online version. But I'll put links to all this under the video, and maybe that's a good couple of reasons to actually have a look at using side windows that you might not have thought of. I say I especially like the tree sitter one, being able to see all the code there. The dictionary server lookup is much easier, having it come up on the right hand side, so you can actually scroll through as opposed to a little split window. And also the notifications are much more user friendly, being shown in a side window, because I said, otherwise what happens is it's just gonna, if you get one notification and it will split there, then you'll get another split there and another split there, and it's a pain. You go away to make a cup of tea, you come back and your window's been split about 4 times and you've got to, you know, queue out of them. So that's my use case for side windows, and I'll put links to this under the video.